The first thing I noticed at Dad's funeral was my stepmother's smile. Not a grief-stricken attempt at bravery, but a real smile. Like she'd just won something. I should have known right then what was coming. My name is Danielle, and I was watching my father being lowered into the ground while my step-siblings whispered behind their hands. The November wind carried fragments of their conversation. Finally out of the way. Mom says it's done. Everything's ours now. I grip my black umbrella tighter, raindrops mixing with tears I refused to let them see. Dad had only been gone 3 days, and already they were treating his death like a lottery win. Danielle, darling. Valerie's voice dripped honey as she approached, her designer black dress probably worth more than most people's monthly salary. I hope you're holding up okay. Your father would have wanted us to stay strong. Thank you for your concern, I managed, my throat tight. 10 years of her fake sympathy hadn't made it any easier to stomach. The funeral crowd thinned as people headed toward their cars. Livia, my stepsister, was already taking selfies by the church entrance. For my followers, she'd probably say if anyone called her out on it. Her brother Felix stood nearby, scrolling through his phone with practiced disinterest. Oh, before I forget. Valerie's voice shifted harder now. She pulled an envelope from her purse. Raymond will be reading the updated will tomorrow. Your father made some significant changes before he passed. My stomach dropped. What changes? Nothing for you to worry about, dear. She waved the envelope like a fan. Though you might want to start looking for a new place. The estate will need to be cleared out soon. Before I could respond, Sophia, my godmother and the only lawyer I truly trusted, appeared at my side. Valerie, she said coolly, I wasn't aware Brian had updated his will. When exactly was this done? 2 weeks ago. Valerie's smile widened. Right before he went into hospice. He wanted to make sure his wishes were clear. 2 weeks ago, when Dad could barely stay awake through his pain medication, when Valerie had suddenly started restricting his visitors, claiming he needed rest. How convenient, I said, watching her face carefully. Funny, he never mentioned any changes to me during our daily calls. Well, he wouldn't, would he? Livia had sauntered over, phone still in hand. Not after you disappointed him so much by refusing to join the family business. Livia, Felix warned, but he was smirking. I felt Sophia's hand on my arm, steadying me. She'd been Dad's friend for 30 years, long before Valerie entered the picture. The look we exchanged said everything. Something wasn't right. The reading's at noon tomorrow, Valerie announced loudly enough for the lingering mourners to hear. Raymond's office. Don't be late, Danielle. You'll want to hear this directly. As they walked away, I heard Felix's low voice. Dad's finally out of the way. Now we can run things properly. My blood ran cold. Dad had pulled me aside just weeks before his sudden decline, his face grave as he'd pressed a USB drive into my hand. If anything happens to me, he'd said, speak to Sophia before anyone else. Promise me. I'd promised, confused then, but watching Valerie lead her children toward their car, that envelope clutched in her manicured hands like a weapon, I understood. Dad had known something was coming. Sophia, I whispered, I need to show you something. She nodded, already reaching for her car keys. I know a quiet cafe nearby. Tell me everything. As we left the cemetery, I glanced back at Dad's fresh grave. Valerie thought she'd won, thought she'd secured her children's future with whatever scheme she'd cooked up. But she'd forgotten one thing. I was Brian Anderson's daughter, and he'd taught me to always keep receipts. He knew something was wrong. I placed Dad's laptop on Sophia's desk, along with the USB drive he'd given me. 3 weeks ago, he started acting different, paranoid almost. Sophia's office was a sanctuary of dark wood and leather, worlds away from the sterile conference rooms where Valerie held court. Rain streaked the windows as thunder rolled in the distance. Tell me exactly what he said. Sophia leaned forward, legal pad ready. It was after a board meeting. Valerie had pushed through some controversial changes to the company structure. I closed my eyes, remembering. Dad pulled me into his study. "Danny, sit down." Dad's voice was tired, his usual confidence wavering. "There's something we need to discuss." I perched on his leather chair, watching him pace. "What's wrong?" "Valerie's been accessing things she shouldn't. Financial records, legal documents. She's having private meetings with board members without my knowledge." "Maybe she's just being proactive." Even as I said it, I knew better. He shook his head. "No, something's not right. She's planning something, and I can't." He stopped, rubbing his temples. "I'm not feeling myself lately. My medication seems stronger, but the doctor insists the dosage hasn't changed. Dad, if you're worried about Valerie, listen carefully." He pressed the USB drive into my hand. "Everything important is here. Emails, recordings, financial trails. The password is your mother's birthday. If anything happens to me, speak to Sophia before anyone else. Promise me." And 3 days later, he could barely stay conscious. I finished, throat tight. The doctor said his condition deteriorated rapidly, but it didn't make sense. He was improving before that. Sophia was already booting up the laptop. "The timing is suspicious. Valerie restricted visitors immediately after. Claimed it was doctor's orders. I only got to see him for 15 minutes a day, always with her hovering." The laptop chimed to life. Sophia's fingers flew across the keyboard, accessing Dad's email archive. "Here, look at this thread from 2 months ago, Valerie corresponding with a notary we've never used before." I leaned in, reading, "Need documentation prepared quickly. Discretion required. Generous compensation for rush service." And here, Sophia clicked another email. "Communications with a private nurse about medication management. This isn't the hospice nurse who was assigned to your father." My hands shook. "Are you saying she—" "Don't say it out loud." Sophia's voice was sharp. "Not yet. We need more proof." She inserted the USB drive, entering Mom's birthday when prompted. "First, let's see what your father wanted us to find." Files populated the screen. Financial records, audio recordings, security camera footage from Dad's home office. And there, in a hidden folder, a video file dated 3 weeks before his death. Dad's face filled the screen, pale but determined. "If you're watching this, something's happened to me. Valerie's been tampering with my medication. I've been recording our conversations, documenting everything. The real will is in Sophia's possession, dated 6 months ago. Whatever they produce after my death is fake. Danny, I'm so sorry. I should have seen through her sooner." A knock at the office door made us both jump. Sophia quickly minimized the window. "Come in." Her assistant poked her head in. "Sorry to interrupt, but you should see this. Someone just leaked photos from the Anderson estate. Valerie's children are hosting some kind of pre-inheritance celebration. It's all over social media." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Give it up or we'll ruin you. You have no idea what we're capable of." Sophia saw my face change. "What is it?" I showed her the message. "They think they are untouchable." I stood, a cold clarity settling over me. Dad trusted us to expose the truth. So let's give them exactly what they deserve. "Carefully," Sophia warned. "We need to be strategic." "Oh, I will be." I stared at the threatening text. "They want to play games? Fine. But they're about to learn who they're really dealing with." The thunder crashed outside, nature itself seeming to endorse my decision. Valerie thought she'd written me out of the story. She was about to discover her biggest mistake. "You're sure this is legal?" I asked Kira as she connected Dad's locked drive to her laptop. My best friend's apartment was a maze of computer screens and tech equipment, the perfect place to dig deeper without being watched. "Accessing your father's personal drive that he gave you? Completely legal." She typed rapidly, lines of code filling her screen. "Breaking into Valerie's private accounts would be illegal. This is just digital forensics." A security prompt appeared. Kira bypassed it in seconds. "There," she said. "Let's see what your father was protecting." Folders appeared, each meticulously labeled. Financial records, audio files, security footage, and one encrypted folder simply titled Insurance. Start with the audio, I suggested, remembering Dad's video message. The first recording started playing. Dad's voice, weak but clear. No, I don't want to sign anything now. I'm too tired. Valerie's voice, sickly sweet. Just a few signatures, darling. The nurse says your medication is due soon. You'll feel better after. The nurse, something's wrong with the medication. Shh, don't worry about that. Just sign here. I felt sick. Kira's face had gone pale as she kept working. There's more, she said. Look, emails between Valerie and someone named Marcus about adjusting medical records, bank transfers to a private nurse, and holy shit. She pulled up a video from Dad's home security system. Valerie in his study late at night, replacing documents in his safe with identical-looking ones. Got you, I whispered. My phone buzzed, a text from Sophia. Felix just entered your apartment building. Be careful. They're watching me. I showed Kira the message. We need to move faster. Already on it. She inserted a fresh USB drive. I'm copying everything. But Danny, there's something else you should see. She opened the insurance folder. Inside was a single video file. Dad, looking directly into the camera, recorded the day before his sudden decline. Danny, if you're seeing this, I'm either dead or incapacitated. Valerie's been slowly poisoning me, changing my medication, adding something. I can feel it. But I've been collecting evidence, preparing for this moment. The real will is with Sophia. Everything goes to you. The company, the estate, all of it. Don't let them take what's yours. And sweetheart, I'm so sorry I brought that woman into our lives. Tears burned my eyes. Kira squeezed my hand. A notification popped up on her screen. Someone trying to access my email remotely. They're getting desperate, Kira muttered, typing furiously. Trying to hack your accounts. Amateur hour. Wait, I can trace this. Let me guess, Felix? Better. It's coming from Valerie's home IP address. Kira grinned. Want me to leave them a little surprise? Not yet. Let them think they're winning. I checked my phone again. 3 missed calls from Valerie. They'll slip up more if they're confident. Another text arrived, this one from Livia. Last chance to back off. Mum says she'll make sure you never work in this city again if you don't drop this. They're threatening your career now, Kira scoffed. Do they know you own half their company's shares? Not yet. I stood, gathering the USB drives. But they will. Sophia's meeting with Raymond tomorrow morning. Once he sees this evidence... Be careful, Kira warned. People like Valerie, they're most dangerous when cornered. My phone lit up with another anonymous message. We know what you're doing. Stop digging or you'll regret it. I took a screenshot and forwarded it to Sophia. Evidence. Everything was evidence now. Let them threaten, I said, pocketing the drives. Every message, every hack attempt, every intimidation tactic, they're just giving us more ammunition. Kira started wiping her system. What's your next move? I smiled, thinking of the pre-inheritance party Valerie's children were throwing tonight. I think it's time I crashed a celebration. After all, family should stick together, right? The sun was setting as I left Kira's apartment, casting long shadows across the city. Somewhere in her mansion, Valerie was probably raising a glass to her victory. She had no idea the storm that was coming. The party was in full swing when I walked into my father's mansion, now supposedly Valerie's mansion. Crystal glasses clinked, fake laughter echoed off marble walls, and my step-siblings held court like royalty in the grand living room. Oh my God, who invited her? Livia's voice cut through the chatter. She stood by the fireplace in a designer dress, champagne in hand, phone ready to capture content for her followers. I invited myself, I smiled, accepting a glass from a passing waiter. Family celebration, right? The room quieted. Valerie emerged from the crowd, her face a mask of controlled fury. Danielle, this is a private event. In my father's house. The house he explicitly left to me in his original will. I took a deliberate sip. I thought I'd join the festivities. Felix appeared at Valerie's side, swaying slightly. You've got some nerve showing up here. Funny, I was about to say the same thing about this party. Dad's been dead less than a week. You bitter little, Livia started, but Valerie raised a hand. Let her stay, she announced loudly. After all, tomorrow everything becomes official. Let her see what she's losing. Guests shifted uncomfortably. I noticed Kira had successfully infiltrated the party, setting up her phone to record everything while pretending to be absorbed in her own screen. Tell me, Valerie, I moved closer, how did Dad manage to sign a new will while he was barely conscious? Must have been quite a feat. He was perfectly lucid, she snapped. The notary and nurse can confirm it. The same nurse who adjusted his medication, or the notary you paid off. Felix choked on his drink. Valerie's eyes narrowed dangerously. You should be careful with accusations like that, she hissed. Oh, but I have proof. I pulled out my phone, playing the security footage of her in Dad's study. Would you like to explain this to the guests, or should we wait for the police? That's not what it looks like, Felix stammered, suddenly pale. Really? I turned to the gathered crowd. Because it looks like theft and fraud to me. Just like the bank transfers to your private nurse look like evidence of medical manipulation. Livia lunged forward, trying to grab my phone. I stepped back, letting her stumble. Get out! Valerie's composure cracked. Get out before I have you thrown out. Mom, Felix slurred, pulling her aside. Mom, we need to... Just tell the lawyer Dad signed it before hospice kicked in, she hissed, not realizing how her voice carried. Even if he didn't. That's what we agreed. I saw Kira's phone shift slightly, capturing everything. Perfect. You know what's interesting? I addressed the now silent room. Tomorrow, Raymond's going to receive some very compelling evidence. Emails, recordings, testimony from Dad's real medical team. Should make for quite a dramatic will reading. You're bluffing, Valerie snarled, but fear flickered in her eyes. Am I? Check your accounts, Valerie. Those transfers to Marcus the notary weren't as discreet as you thought. Felix's face went ash white. He knew exactly which transfers I meant. I finished my champagne and set the glass down carefully. Enjoy your party. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. As I turned to leave, Livia grabbed my arm. You think you're so smart? Mom will destroy you. We have connections you can't imagine. I leaned in close. And I have the truth. Let's see which wins. Walking out, I heard the party dissolving into worried whispers. My phone buzzed, a message from Sophia. Raymond's ready to meet, bringing everything first thing tomorrow. I smiled, thinking of the USB drives safely delivered to his office. Valerie wanted to play dirty. Fine, but she'd forgotten the first rule of war: never underestimate your enemy. Behind me, I heard Valerie's voice rising in panic, demanding to know who had access to the financial records. The house of cards was starting to crumble. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. Raymond's face grew paler with each document Sophia laid on his desk. The morning sun cast harsh shadows across the evidence of Valerie's deception. Bank statements, medical records, security footage, and Dad's final video testimony. He swallowed hard. This is extremely serious. That's one word for it, Sophia said coolly. Fraud would be another. Conspiracy. Medical abuse. I never knew, Raymond whispered. She presented the will, had all the correct signatures. Forged signatures, I corrected, while my father was being drugged into compliance. My phone buzzed. Valerie, last chance. Walk away now, or I'll make sure you never see a penny of your trust fund. I showed the message to Sophia, who added it to her growing file of evidence. The timing of the transfers is damning, Raymond said, reviewing the bank records. Felix wired money to the notary the day before the new will was supposedly signed. And these medical records show that Dad's medication was being tampered with, I finished. The hospice records don't match the private nurse's documentation. Sophia's phone rang. She answered, listened, then smiled grimly. That was my contact at the DA's office. The notary just cracked under questioning. He's willing to testify about Valerie's involvement. Raymond slumped in his chair. The will reading is in 3 hours. I can't legally proceed with a document I now know to be fraudulent. No, I agreed. You can't. My phone lit up again. This time, a message from Felix. Mum's losing it. She knows something's wrong. Please, we can make a deal. No deals, Sophia said, reading over my shoulder. They made their choice. Raymond gathered the papers with shaking hands. I'll have to present the original will, the one leaving everything to you, Danielle. But Valerie, she won't take this quietly. Good. I stood up. Let her make a scene. The press is already gathering outside thanks to an anonymous tip about potential fraud in the Anderson estate. You planned this, Raymond realized. All of it. No, I corrected him. Valerie planned this. I'm just making sure the truth comes out. Sophia's phone buzzed again. The police want to question the private nurse. Apparently, she's trying to leave the country. Of course she is, I said. She knows what's coming. Raymond looked sick. I've been the family lawyer for 20 years. I should have seen this. Valerie counted on people trusting her, Sophia said. That's how she operated. Another message flashed on my phone. Livia this time. You bitch. My followers are already asking questions. My sponsorships are at risk. I'll make you pay for this. They're unraveling. I showed Sophia the message. All of them. Good, she checked her watch. The will reading starts at noon. Every major business publication in the city will be there, thanks to those leaked fraud allegations. You don't seem worried, Raymond observed. Why should I be? I gathered my coat. I have the truth, the law, and my father's final testimony on my side. What does Valerie have? Desperation, Sophia warned. Be careful. She's cornered now. My phone buzzed one final time. Valerie again. You think you've won? I'm going to destroy you. Everything your father built, everything he loved. I'll burn it all down before I let you have it. I showed the message to Sophia, who photographed it for evidence. Let her try, I said, standing to leave. The will reading starts in 3 hours. Make sure everyone's there, Raymond. It's time the whole family hears the truth. As we left his office, I felt strangely calm. The storm was coming, but for the first time since Dad's death, I knew I was ready for it. Sophia squeezed my arm. Are you sure you want to do this publicly? I thought of Dad's final video, his voice weak but determined. Don't let them take what's yours. Yes, I said. It's time everyone saw Valerie for who she really is. The clock struck 9. 3 hours until the truth came out. 3 hours until Valerie's carefully constructed world came crashing down. I couldn't wait. Noon arrived with the weight of thunder. Raymond's conference room was packed. Family, lawyers, reporters, hovering outside the glass doors. Valerie sat at the head of the table like a queen, Livia and Felix flanking her sides. Shall we begin? Raymond's voice shook slightly as he opened the folder before him. Just get on with it, Valerie snapped, shooting me a venomous smile. Some of us have inheritance parties to plan. Sophia sat beside me, her expression neutral, but her hand ready on her own folder of evidence. Kira had positioned herself near the door, phone discreetly recording everything. Very well, Raymond cleared his throat. Regarding the last will and testament of Brian Anderson, dated 2 weeks prior to his death. Objection, Sophia interrupted smoothly. Before we proceed, I have evidence that this document is fraudulent. The room erupted. Valerie leaped to her feet. How dare you? This is ridiculous. Is it? I pulled out my phone, playing Dad's video testimony on the large conference screen. His gaunt face filled the room. I'm being poisoned. My medication. Valerie and her children. The real will is with Sophia. Felix went pale. Livia stopped mid-Instagram story, her phone slipping from her fingers. That's clearly edited, Valerie sputtered. Like these bank records. Sophia started distributing copies, showing payments from Felix's account to the notary, or these medical records proving the medication tampering. Mum, Felix's voice cracked. What's she talking about? Shut up, Valerie hissed, but the damage was done. Raymond stood up, his professional demeanor finally returning. In light of this evidence, which has been verified by my office and the district attorney, I have no choice but to declare the recent will invalid. You can't do this, Livia shrieked. Daddy wanted us to have everything. Did he? I asked quietly. Or did Valerie want everything? The only valid will, Raymond continued, is the original document from 6 months ago, which leaves the entire estate, company shares, and all assets to Danielle Anderson. The silence was deafening. No. Valerie's voice was dangerous. No, I won't allow this. I worked too hard. To kill my father. I stood up. To poison him slowly while changing his will. To steal everything he spent his life building. You ungrateful little... She lunged across the table, but security guards, arranged by Sophia, stepped forward. Mrs. Anderson, one guard said, the police are waiting outside. They have some questions about certain medical and financial records. Livia burst into tears. My followers are watching. This can't be happening. Oh, but it is, I said. Every moment. Being live-streamed right now, thanks to those reporters you love so much. Felix stumbled to his feet. Mum, what did you make me do? Those transfers. You said it was just insurance. Felix, shut your mouth. Valerie's composure cracked completely. All of you shut up. I deserve everything. 20 years of building this family's social status, dealing with his precious daughter, playing the perfect wife. I earned this. Actually, Sophia smiled, you just confessed to premeditated fraud. On camera. Would you like to add anything about the medication tampering while we're recording? The doors burst open. 2 police detectives entered, followed by the DA himself. Valerie Anderson? The detective stepped forward. We need you to come with us. You too, Mr. Felix. We have some questions about certain financial transactions. You can't prove anything, Valerie screamed, but her eyes told a different story. She knew it was over. As they were led out, Livia collapsed into her chair, mascara running. What about me? What about my inheritance? There is no inheritance, I said quietly. There never was. It was all a lie. Just like everything else your mother built. The room slowly emptied, leaving me alone with Sophia and Raymond. Through the glass walls, I could see Valerie being led to a police car, reporters swarming like sharks. It's done. Sophia squeezed my shoulder. Your father would be proud. I picked up the original will, my hands shaking slightly. No, it's not quite done. There's one last thing Dad wanted me to do. Breaking news. Prominent businesswoman Valerie Anderson arrested on charges of fraud, medical abuse, and conspiracy. I muted the TV in Sophia's office as reporters continued dissecting the morning's events. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the will reading. Journalists, business partners, distant relatives all wanting comments. Their lawyer just called. Sophia entered, coffee in hand. Valerie's demanding a meeting. From jail? I couldn't help but laugh. That's bold. She's offering a deal. Says she has dirt on the company that could tank the stock price if this goes public. Let her try. I pulled up the encrypted files on my laptop. Dad documented everything, including her attempts to hide those failed overseas ventures she authorized without board approval. My phone lit up, Livia calling for the 10th time. I declined it. She's been posting about you. Kira walked in, showing me her phone. Calling you a vindictive stepsister who destroyed our family with lies. Her followers aren't buying it, though. The video of Valerie attacking you at the will reading is trending. Speaking of trending, Sophia smiled grimly, the DA just confirmed the private nurse is cooperating. She's provided detailed records of how Valerie instructed her to alter your father's medication. A knock at the door interrupted us. Felix stood there, looking destroyed in his rumpled designer suit. Can we talk? His voice was rough. Please? I nodded to security, who checked him before letting him enter. Make it quick, I said. I have a board meeting in an hour. I didn't know. He collapsed into a chair. About Dad's medication, I mean. Mom said the money transfers were for legal consulting. Something about protecting the company's future. I swear. Save it for your lawyer, Sophia cut in. You're still facing charges for conspiracy. I'll testify, he blurted. Against Mom. About everything. The fake will, the threats against you, all of it. Why? I studied his face. Loyalty clearly means nothing to you. Because she used me. His composure broke. She used all of us. And now my life is ruined. My trust funds frozen. My girlfriend left me. And Livia's having a mental breakdown because her influencer career is imploding. My phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. You think you're safe? I have friends everywhere. This isn't over. Valerie's still threatening me from jail. I showed Sophia the message. Add it to the restraining order application. Felix stood shakily. I'll have my lawyer contact you about my testimony. Felix, I called as he reached the door. Did you ever actually care about Dad? Or was he just a bank account to you? He couldn't meet my eyes. I don't know anymore. After he left, Kira pulled up the latest news updates. Valerie's being denied bail. The judge cited flight risk and the severity of the charges. Good. I opened Dad's old laptop, now mine again. The board's waiting for direction. We need to stabilize the company before. Another interruption. Livia bursting in, mascara streaked down her face. You've ruined everything, she screamed. My followers, my sponsors, my reputation. Your reputation. I stood slowly. You helped cover up the murder of my father. We didn't murder. No? What do you call slowly poisoning someone while stealing their company? Security appeared in the doorway, but I waved them back. Get out, Livia. Go hire a lawyer. You'll need one. This isn't over, she spat. Mom's already talking to publishers about a tell-all book. We'll destroy you in the press. With what? Sophia asked mildly. The truth is already out there. All you have left are lies. After security escorted her out, I sank back into my chair. You okay? Kira asked softly. No, I admitted, but I will be. My phone lit up one last time, a message from Raymond. Board members assembled. They're ready for their new CEO. I gathered my files, straightened my jacket, and headed for the door. Dad had built this company from nothing. Now it was my turn to protect his legacy, the right way. Ready? Sophia asked. Ready. I smiled grimly. Let's show them what real leadership looks like. The autumn wind whipped around me as I stood in front of Dad's grave, holding the final USB drive he'd left me. I'd found it hidden in his desk drawer, labeled simply for after. You should watch it, Sophia said gently, standing beside me. The trial's over. Valerie's conviction is secure. Maybe it's time. She was right. The past weeks had been a blur of testimonies, business meetings, and rebuilding what Valerie had tried to destroy. The company was stabilizing. Felix had taken a plea deal. Livia was reportedly working retail in another state. And Valerie, 25 years for conspiracy, fraud, and medical abuse. The judge had been particularly harsh after hearing Dad's video testimony. Okay, I whispered, pulling out my laptop. Let's see what he wanted me to know. Dad's face appeared on the screen, healthy and smiling. This must have been recorded before Valerie started poisoning him. Hi, sweetheart. If you're watching this, then everything I feared came true. But knowing you, you've already fought back. You've always been stronger than anyone knew, even yourself. Tears burned my eyes as he continued. The company is yours now. The money, the house, all of it. But that's not your real inheritance. Your real inheritance is the truth I learned too late. Family isn't about blood or marriage certificates. It's about trust, loyalty, love. Sophia squeezed my hand as we watched. I made a mistake with Valerie. I was lonely and she was charming. By the time I saw through her act, she'd already started her plan. But you saw it from the beginning, didn't you? You tried to warn me. He knew, I whispered. He finally knew. Don't waste time on anger or revenge, Danny. Build something better. Create the family you choose, not the one forced upon you, and know that I am so, so proud of the woman you've become." The video ended. I closed the laptop, letting the tears fall freely now. "He'd be prouder now," Sophia said. "The way you handled everything. With dignity, with justice. Not just revenge." My phone buzzed. Kira sending updates about the company's latest charitable initiative, using recovered funds to support victims of financial fraud. Dad would have loved that. You know what's funny? I stood, brushing grass from my knees. Valerie thought she could erase me from Dad's legacy. Instead, she erased herself. Speaking of erasure, Sophia checked her phone. Raymond says Felix's testimony helped recover most of the stolen assets. He's starting his community service next week. Good. I placed fresh flowers on Dad's grave. At least one of them chose truth in the end. And Valerie? Still sending threats from prison. I shrugged. But her words have no power anymore. The truth took care of that. We walked back toward the car, leaves crunching under our feet. The mansion, my home again, stood in the distance, lights warm against the darkening sky. "Sophia," I paused. "Thank you. For everything. Dad was right about chosen family." She smiled, tears in her eyes. "He'd be so proud of the CEO you've become, the woman you are." My phone lit up again, the board requesting my presence for a new acquisition meeting. Life moving forward, just as Dad would have wanted. "Ready to go build something better?" Sophia asked, echoing Dad's words. I looked back at the grave one last time, remembering his final message. No more anger, no more revenge. Just truth, justice, and the family we choose. "Yes," I said, "I'm ready." The autumn wind gusted again, scattering leaves like memories across the cemetery. Somewhere in a prison cell, Valerie was plotting her revenge. In another state, Livia was probably dreaming up her comeback story. And Felix was learning the hard way about consequences. But here, in this moment, I was my father's daughter, stronger than anyone knew. Ready to build something better, ready to honor his real legacy. "Let's go," I said. "We have work to do."